What's up, guys? Chris with Croft CNC here. I was asked to show you guys how I use my Donek knife or write code for the Donek knife in VCARVE. So first thing we've got to do is we've got to go to VCARVE. We've got to create a new file. We're going to say our piece of leather that we got from Michael's, Tandy, or just offcuts or whatever might be 10 inches by 10 inches by 1 inch. We'll click OK. We're going to go back up here. We're going to make sure our material surface changes to machine bed. Alright, that is a big one. Now we're going to cut, let's say we're going to cut keychains. Alright, we're going to do something like that with tab on it like that. Okay, we're going to cut that out, join it. Okay, now comes the fun part. We are going to take our Donek knife. We are going to, let's say our leather is 0.068 inches thick. We're going to set our Donek knife. We're going to do a one pass. It's going to be on. Here's my settings for my Donek knife. The RPMs don't matter. You're not going to have the spindle on for this. Click OK. Your profile is going to be on. We're going to start at keep current start position, and we're going to, well, I guess we're first going to select the vector and calculate. Okay. So now I don't like that start position, so we are going to move that start position. There. And the reason we do that is the Donek knife is going to start to the right and the blade has to be to the right all the time. So we've got all that squared away. Calculate, close. We're now going to save that as a GRBL. We're going to go to save as. We're going to save that as Donek pre, and that's pre-code. We can close that. We go in here, we open up the Donek knife tools. This adds the swivel that the Donek knife needs. So my blade offset, I calibrated it and I found that it's 0.15 tolerance. Swivel height, we want our swivel height to be 0.003. Add corner actions, and we're going to go to desktop. We're going to choose the Donek pre-code. We're going to output Donek post code, and we're going to close out of this. Now, for some reason, the guy that wrote that spreadsheet could not get it to work with the GRBL post. So what I do now is I go back into VCARVE. This is a little bit of a long way around, but I don't just make one of these when I make them. So for me, it actually works out well. We go down here, go to all files. We're going to go to Donek post. Now it adds all of our swivel moves for the Donek knife to actually cut the square corners. We're going to export as a DXF. We're going to negate the rapid moves. We're going to export the file. I used what's called G-code ripper. I use that to wrap my text and stuff whenever I do rotary. Okay, now we're going to go back into VCARVE. We're going to create the same file. We're going to import our DXF. Okay. And now we're going to go over here and we're going to start creating code. We're going to go to Profile on, Donek knife, add our cut depth, current start point, calculate, close. Now this one, we need to have the blade in the leather a little bit to operate the swivel motion by the spindle. So we need to keep that between 3 and 5 thousandths down into the leather. So we go 0.003. I would test this on the machine. On my leather, it's based on the thickness of the leather and the sharpness of the point of the knife. Okay. Go up here to 2D view. We're going to profile. We're going to take this back down to 0.08. Once again, that's the theoretical thickness of our leather. We're going to calculate. We're going to go to 2D view. We're going to select our rotation. We're going to profile. We're going to take that to 0.003. We're going to keep the start point, calculate, and we're going to keep going through and repeating this. And this is happening in real time, so you can actually tell what's going on. It doesn't take that long once you figure out what you're doing. It's actually more of a pain, and you wish somebody could code this so that you didn't have to do this, but that remains to be seen. And basically you just take this section by section and you do your movements. So now we're coming to the end. We've got a few more to do. Now something you can do is play around with your depths. One thing you don't want to do is get too deep into the leather and not bring it up enough, because unless you have the leather secured down well, it will not cut well. It will bunch up and drag itself, ruining your piece of leather. I know this from experience. All right. Now, some people use the drag knife tool in VCARVE Pro. I don't have Pro. This is my workaround for it. For those that can afford Pro or even the version 10 upgrade, congratulations to you. I applaud you. For those of us that are poor folk, I'll keep doing it this way. And once again, this is just a workaround. Just trying to verify. There we go. Okay, we've got all of them selected. We'll close that. We're going to save this as one full toolpath. We're going to say Donek final. We're going to save that. We can close out of this. We can save it if we want to. Now, one thing that I know that I'm going to have to do is do a find replace. So as you can see, I already do this. I replace those with 0 movements. Now what that does is that takes all of my Z.2 movements and moves them to 0. We'll save this, close this. We'll go verify code with NC viewer. Donek final. Now we can go step by step through the code. Sets our values. Z goes up to 8. That turns on the spindle, which we don't have to worry about. That moves over to our starting point. That drops it down, moves it over, lifts it up, drops it down, moves it, and it's taken all of those arcs and turned them into G1 movements for no other reason than I know it works, and that's the way I did it before there was a big change. Now it drops it down to full. Everything looks good. Okay. We've proofed out the code. Code looks good. So I'll load this onto, let's see here. There it is. So we'll load this code onto a jump drive, take it out to the machine. I use a separate fixture board that I spray adhesive down. I usually use like Super 77 adhesive. I spray the leather, I spray the flat board, and I usually use my laser to make an alignment grid to align the parts. I give the leather roughly about, I don't know, less than a minute to dry with the adhesive on it, and then I put it down. I give it about another minute to dry while it's together. I come back, I check a corner. If the corner is good, then I go ahead and start my program. I zero out the Donek knife to the table and then go from there. So that's your video for today, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Later.